Welcome to World Wrap, your global snapshot for Wednesday, May 28, 2025. Here's what's happening around the world. Shockwaves in Latin America. Brazil sues Chinese EV giant BYD over alleged slave-like working conditions. Trade truce, US and EU step back from the brink as President Trump delays massive tariffs. Gaza Crisis. Deadly Israeli airstrike reported in northern Gaza as diplomatic efforts for a two-state solution continue. Ukraine diplomacy. President Zelensky meets German Chancellor in Berlin for crucial war talks. And later, major AI innovations unveiled to revolutionize digital commerce. In Southeast Asia, leaders are increasingly voicing the urgency to diversify trade partnerships. This comes amidst concerns over U.S. tariff plans potentially redirecting Chinese goods, originally meant for American export, into their markets. The Bangkok Post reports these uncertainties are underscoring a need to look beyond traditional export destinations. On a more localized note, tensions have reportedly arisen between Indonesia's flag carrier Garuda and its pilots' union over recruitment policies. In Thailand, there are reports of a brief border clash between Thai and Cambodian soldiers, though thankfully with no casualties. Meanwhile, in East Asia, a new study published in The Lancet and reported by the Japan Times highlights a concerning near 150% rise in heart disease across Southeast Asia, signaling a growing public health challenge for the region. In South Korea, the presidential race is heating up, with candidate spouses reportedly taking center stage in campaign efforts to sway voters ahead of next week's election. On the business front, Tencent Music is making a significant K-pop bet, acquiring a nearly 10% stake in SM Entertainment, as expectations grow for China to lift its unofficial ban on K-pop performances. Across South Asia, India is focusing on bolstering its digital infrastructure, with new government plans reportedly being finalized to expand high-speed internet access to more rural areas, aiming to further fuel the nation's booming digital economy and startup ecosystem. In regional news, Pakistan continues negotiations with the IMF for a new bailout package, with discussions focusing on fiscal reforms and economic stabilization measures. Watch for further clarification on the Thai-Cambodian border situation and details of India's digital expansion plans. In China, healthcare infrastructure is set for a significant boost, with Perennial Holdings signing an agreement with Guangzhou Metro to establish the first wholly foreign-owned tertiary general hospital in Guangzhou in southern China. The project represents a substantial investment aimed at attracting high-quality local and international medical resources. This development comes as Chinese companies like EV maker BYD face international scrutiny. More on that in our Latin America segment. Beijing also continues to emphasize economic stability, with recent policy discussions focusing on supporting domestic demand and ensuring supply chain resilience amid global uncertainties. Across Africa, the focus on technological collaboration and economic reform continues. Following the Connected Africa Summit held earlier this month, there's a renewed push for African nations to strengthen cross-border tech partnerships by harmonizing digital policies and regulatory frameworks. Kenya, for instance, is actively implementing its national artificial intelligence strategy. In South Africa, there's a reported storm brewing over proposed changes to Black economic empowerment rules, particularly concerning ownership requirements for companies like Elon Musk's Starlink to operate in the country. This debate highlights ongoing discussions about economic inclusion and foreign investment. In Australia, the government is reportedly advancing discussions on new measures to boost renewable energy adoption, with a focus on supporting community solar projects and improving grid infrastructure to accommodate more green power. This comes as the nation aims to meet its ambitious climate targets. Across the Pacific, New Zealand is evaluating the outcomes of a recent regional forum where Pacific Island leaders collectively called for more robust international support to combat the escalating impacts of climate change, including rising sea levels and extreme weather events threatening their communities. In the Middle East, the conflict in Gaza continues with tragic consequences. Gaza rescuers reported today that at least 8 people were killed in an Israeli airstrike on a home in the northern Gaza Strip. This comes as French President Emmanuel Macron and Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto, during Macron's visit to Jakarta, jointly called for progress on mutual recognition between Israel and the Palestinians. They urged an upcoming international conference to restore a political path towards a two-state solution. Elsewhere, diplomatic efforts continue, though the situation remains complex, with ongoing international discussions about humanitarian aid access and the long-term prospects for peace in the region. In Europe, there's a sense of relief in financial markets as US-EU trade tensions appear to ease. Wall Street shares bounced yesterday, and European markets maintained a rally after US President Donald Trump delayed implementing huge tariffs on imports from the EU over the long holiday weekend, allowing more time for negotiations. On the diplomatic front, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is in Berlin today for crucial talks with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, focusing on German support for Ukraine and efforts to achieve a ceasefire. Meanwhile, Ukraine's military today reported significant Russian combat losses over the past 24 hours, claiming over 1,000 Russian troops were eliminated, alongside tanks and artillery systems, as intense fighting continues, particularly in the Pokrovsk direction. Across Latin America, a major legal battle is brewing as Brazilian prosecutors announced they are suing Chinese electric vehicle giant BYD, along with 2 of its contractors. The lawsuit alleges human trafficking and conditions analogous to slavery at a factory construction site in Bahia State, seeking substantial damages. BYD was building its first EV plant outside Asia there. This news overshadows Brazil's continued rise as a regional tech innovator, with significant government and private investment pouring into artificial intelligence, data centers, agritech and fintech, particularly in hubs like São Paulo and Rio de Janeiro. In tech, Algonomy, a leader in algorithmic retail, today unveiled 3 new AI-powered solutions: Ensemble AI, social proof messaging, and active content, designed to help retailers deliver hyper-personalized shopping experiences. Separately, China's Yuejin community launched MCP, a tool for one-click deployment of AI-generated front-end projects. In sports, Australian NRL highlights from round 12 are buzzing, with Parramatta Eels playmaker Dean Hawkins delivering a standout performance. That's World Wrap for Wednesday, May 28, 2025. Like and follow us for more daily updates from around the globe. See you tomorrow.